Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you for watching my video today and welcome to everybody. Today I thought I would create another project in my handmade sort of vintage patterned paper journal. I have a couple of videos where I made this journal and well I decorated the cover and also did the first page, and I will put them in the description box below and link them at the end of the video. Now I wasn't feeling too great on this day when I was started off this page, but I did want to sort of make something. I wanted to create, but I had a bit of a headache, so I wanted to do something that was nice and simple. So I decided that I was just going to tear paper and washi tape and make lots and lots of layers using my Liquitex professional matte medium. So once this project actually got made, a lot of what you're seeing me do now never really was able to be seen. But what I wanted to sort of make the point of with this is that sometimes when we're creating, it doesn't have to be for any other reason other than that it feels good and that it's enjoyable. And that was what I was doing with this. I enjoyed just tearing the paper, tearing the tapes, choosing which ones I wanted and just layering them over on top of each other. So not everything we do has to be for any other reason than that it's enjoyable, and that's what this was. So I just spent the first sort of part of this project just layering and layering, and when I thought I'd done, I laid a bit more. So that is what I am doing for here. Once that had all dried, I wanted to add a bit more texture on the top with some stenciling, and this is a stencil. I think it came with some sort of magazine kit, but I just wanted something that was a bit vintagey, a bit industrially, and so that's what I went for. Now, I very rarely use all of a part of a stencil and tape it down, but for this I did want to get this whole sort of top part of this stencil onto my page, and it fit just perfectly across the width that I thought that I would actually tape it down so that I got a really good sort of impression with the paste. And the paste I'm using is the Stamperia cream paste, and I will list what I've used in the description box below. And I'm using my metal spatula, which is my favourite way of applying my paste, and then I take off the side and bottom pieces of tape first, and this is a Scotch removable tape, so it's really good with this sort of thing, and then you can lift up your stencil. Now once that had thoroughly dried, I wanted to just cover the whole of my piece with some clear gesso, and this is the Liquitex professional clear gesso. It does have a grittiness to it, so that's something to be aware of if you're looking to get a gesso that is much smoother. There are different ones on the market that give you different sorts of textures and effects. So I was making sure that that was thoroughly dry. And then I wanted to add some colour, which is why I added the gesso to the whole page, because I wanted to prep that paper and the washi tape. I have so many different sorts of layers and textures and absorbances that I wanted to give it all the same sort of base, the primer for them all. And I'm using the explosion powders from Pretty Gets Gritty. They are a pigment powder that bursts into colour with the different pigments, but it also includes a mica, so it gives you a little bit of shine. And the two colours that I'm using are called Mars and Dragon. Now, I didn't want to just tip them on to start with. I wanted to try and be quite controlled. So I wanted to sort of put them in specific areas. As you will discover after a while, I realised that I needed to be a little bit more forceful, and I do eventually just go to tipping out straight from the bottle. But if you want to get that more sort of controlled look, and you don't want to go and put too much powder down, then by putting the powder out onto a little dish like I did here, and then using a brush just to sort of tap it on, you get a much more subtle look, a much more sort of controlled application. So the water I did put on, I spritzed my page before I added it. I find that way the powder can sort of grab straight off, so you're not getting too much sort of floating off the powder, because it is very light, and if you just tap it straight onto a dry piece of paper, it has a tendency to fly around in more places, whereas if you spray a little bit of water down, it gives it something to stick to straight away. But then I added more water in just to get it to move, and the amount that the colours split and stay split, or how much they merge together, will depend with how much water you add on. So the more water you put onto the powders, the more they're going to blend and just sort of become one colour. Once this was all thoroughly dry, I wanted to bring that texture back out. So I started off by using this Finnabair matte wax, which is in patina green, because I thought that I wanted it to have sort of that patinaed, rusty sort of look. Once I'd added the green, I realised that I needed a bit of gold to sort of counteract the green with a bit more of a metallic sort of feel to it. So I grabbed my Pebeo wax. Now this one is really old. You'll see I'm nearly down to the last bits, and it is quite dry, so it's quite a bit more tricky to get a hold of. Both of these wax are solvent based, so I did need to clean up with some isopropyl alcohol afterwards to get it off my mat. It does come off your fingers and that quite easily, though, I do find. I chose this little image from the Maremi Collage book, Industrial Fashionista Personas. Gosh, try saying that 3 times in a row. And I cut them out. I matted them onto a little bit of thin white card so that they had a bit more stability, and then I cut them out. I wanted to just add a little bit more lightness again back into that background, so I added some Winsor & Newton ink. Then I gathered together my images that I'd already cut out. I did a little bit of white gel pen onto them just to add some highlights, and I had some black washi tape and some little bits and pieces of ephemera. Some of it I think was from Tim Holtz ones and from different kits and things I had, and some thread. And finally on there as well, I also added a sentiment which was from the Tim Holtz labels called Thoughts, and I just sort of layered them all together using a mixture of my Cosmic Shimmer white acrylic glue and my Pinflair Glue Gel, which is in the syringe. So thank you ever so much for watching my video today. If you have enjoyed it, do please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed and you think this is the sort of content that you would like to watch on a more regular basis, then do please hit that subscribe button, and until the next time, bye bye.